André Rieu's family is preparing for a heartrending farewell, as the cherished violinist faces a devastating health crisis. Revered for spreading happiness to millions through his music, Rieu's illness has left his loved ones and fans shaken. Insiders close to the family reveal that they are still struggling to come to terms with the reality, even as they surround him with unwavering affection and encouragement. But what exactly has befallen the maestro of the waltz? And how are his family and team bracing for the uncertain road ahead? Join us as we delve into André Rieu's emotional battle and the heartfelt goodbye that may mark the closing of a remarkable chapter in music history. A legendary era nears its end. For 5 decades. André Rieu, dubbed the King of the Waltz, has mesmerized global audiences with his charismatic performances and timeless music. Yet a wave of concern recently rippled through his devoted followers after the abrupt cancellation of several shows. Speculation about his health spread rapidly, but the family maintained silence. Until now. In a recent and emotional update, his son confirmed the family's worst fears. Rieu is once again facing a serious health challenge, one that could signal the curtain closing on a glittering career in classical entertainment. Throughout his illustrious journey, Rieu has amazed fans with dazzling concerts and an infectious passion that transcended generations. As the heart and leader of the Johann Strauss Orchestra, he crafted a legacy built on splendor, joy, and connection. But beneath the polished performances and resounding applause, Rieu has long endured private health battles that once came perilously close to ending it all. Few fans knew how close they came to losing him. In 2010, Rieu, then celebrated for his endless stamina and flawless attendance, was hit with a health scare that shook him to the core. He once boasted he'd never missed a concert due to illness and had never experienced jet lag, despite a grueling international tour schedule. But during a quiet vacation in Belgium, he awoke one night with severe vertigo, the room spinning uncontrollably. It was the first sign of a deeper problem. The morning after, performing a second show in Mexico, Rieu felt depleted, as though he were coming undone. In hindsight, it became clear he had been overworking, rushing to complete a major DVD project while juggling constant travel and appearances. Despite his image as tireless and invincible, reality caught up. The truth was undeniable. No matter how strong one's spirit or how deep their devotion, the human body has limits, and Rieu had reached his. Driven by a relentless pursuit of excellence, Rieu had often ignored the warning signs. As he prepared for yet another demanding concert series in Mexico, the pressure built. He was cramming Spanish lessons into long days, battling sweltering temperatures, and stretching himself dangerously thin. Later, he admitted he only knew 2 modes, full speed or complete stop. Doctors soon diagnosed him with a vestibular nerve condition, affecting his sense of balance. Even a mild cold could trigger debilitating dizziness and nausea. Initially, Rieu tried to downplay the illness, but his symptoms grew too intense to ignore. With great reluctance, he had to cancel major tours in the UK and Australia, something he had never imagined doing. Performing was his life. His health crisis threatened not just his passion, but also the livelihoods of everyone working under him. Fearing a more serious issue, such as a brain tumor, he underwent scans, which, fortunately, came back clear. Determined to heal, he committed to a regimen of physical therapy exercises, daily balance drills like walking in circles, and standing on one leg with eyes closed. After 3 months of persistence, he began to feel whole again. This forced pause prompted deep reflection. He realized that business obligations, public events, and even social functions were draining him. In response, he created 2 lists, one of things he loved and another of things he secretly disliked. The answer was obvious. His heart belonged solely to music. From then on, he vowed to focus only on what brought him joy and to prioritize his well-being Though doctors assured him that vestibular neuritis often subsides within weeks, they also warned that stress could trigger its return. Unfortunately, years later, it did. The latest crisis emerged just as Rieu was preparing a triumphant return to Mexico, his first in 6 years. Tickets were sold out, and the initial concerts were met with standing ovations. But only hours after the second performance, he came down with a severe flu accompanied by a high fever, leaving him utterly drained. The tour, eagerly awaited by thousands, had to be halted. Fans were heartbroken, but behind the scenes, the signs had been quietly accumulating. This latest incident was a wake-up call. Could this be the moment that finally forced him to slow down before the cost became irreversible? The remaining concerts were cancelled, leaving both fans and the crew devastated. His son, Pierre, opened up about the difficult decision, revealing that a long-haul flight, extreme time difference, and Mexico City's high altitude had exhausted his father from the outset. With only one rest day before the first show, André's body simply couldn't keep up. What began as minor fatigue swiftly became something much more serious. The team had no choice but to fly him home. For many attendees, the cancellations were a crushing disappointment. Years of anticipation and meticulous planning evaporated overnight. But the sadness was equally intense backstage. The orchestra, members, production crew, and even venue staff were affected. Pierre noted that though calling off the shows was difficult, it was the only responsible choice. Rieu's inner circle had always worried about how intense travel would impact him, and now their fears had come true. Rieu remained in critical condition for several days, unable to carry out even the simplest routines. Recovery was slow, and it took nearly a week before he could resume a semblance of normal activity. The scare shifted the way the team approached future touring. Pierre emphasized that if they ever returned to Mexico, it wouldn't be until 2025 at the earliest. Moving forward, they planned to build in more rest, reduce risks, and prioritize André's long-term health. Age also played a major role. At about 74, the rigors of international touring were no longer sustainable. Pierre was candid, noting that flying halfway across the world wasn't as easy as it once was. Though fans still saw Rieu beaming backstage, soaking in the thrill of performing, the signs were unmistakable. His body was no longer able to keep up. After the second concert, André admitted to his wife that he could no longer handle such demanding tours. The signs had been there for a while, but now the truth was undeniable. If he hoped to continue playing the music he loved, he would have to embrace rest and slower pacing as essential parts of the journey. Even the orchestra itself was feeling the toll. Performing at over 2,000 meters above sea level was no small feat. Lead soprano Donnage Van Doorn admitted the rehearsals were grueling. She experienced red-faced exhaustion and even recurring nosebleeds due to the altitude. During one performance of I Will Survive, she had to pause mid-song to drink water just to get through it. Pierre expressed pride in his father for recognizing his limits. Canceling shows was heartbreaking, but collapsing on stage would have been far worse. In the end, the decision disrupted the plans of nearly 40,000 fans and affected 125 touring staff members, many of whom had to return home prematurely. It also caused chaos with flights, refunds, and merchandise sales. One performer, Emma, shared how surreal it was to sing for 10,000 people one night, only for the entire tour to end abruptly the next day. Outside the venue, the atmosphere had been festive. Stalls selling unofficial Rieu memorabilia, from mugs and teddy bears to t-shirts. Rieu even joked about it on stage. Fans often wrote him letters saying it took them 2 weeks to come down from the emotional high of his concerts. But this time, the magic ended without warning.